Hey everyone, it's Steven here. I am coming at you with a quasi tutorial over a program I wrote that essentially prices out Magic the Gathering decks. So for those of you who maybe don't understand the use of this program, I'll give you some background information. So in the game Magic the Gathering, there's a format called Commander, which is what me and my friends play. It's what I think is the most popular format as of right now. Um, and within this format, there are decks that have varying degrees of power. So let's say a deck might be ranked out on a power scale of like 0 to 10, for example. And so when you're playing the game, you might be able to say, hey, Sally's deck is extremely good while Jim's deck is pretty not good. And you might say, okay, so Sally might have an 8 out of 10 deck. You know, whatever that other guy's name is that I made up might have a 4 out of 10 deck. But there's no really objective way to gauge these power levels. It's just based on like personal observations, anecdotes, like things that aren't tangible. So what me and my friends did after a little bit of research is found a metric that a lot of people use, and a metric that we now use as well, which is pricing out your deck. And this, I guess, intuitively makes sense because some cards in Magic the Gathering might be more expensive. So say there's a $100 card. Some are less expensive, say a 25-cent card. And based on like how the market works, the most powerful cards are going to be priced the highest. So that $100 card is going to be objectively better than the 25-cent card most of the time. So what this means is that if Sally got her deck and she put 10 $100 cards in there, those 10 cards are going to make that deck extremely powerful because they themselves are very powerful. And say Jim decides to not spend as much money as Sally, or doesn't have the budget that Sally does, and decides to put just a bunch of 25-cent cards in his deck. And of course, his deck is going to be less powerful, and therefore he's going to lose more. And that kind of ruins the game because it's a game of strategy, of thinking, and if decks are objectively better than other decks, it kind of takes that aspect out. So what me and my friends decided to do is, again, follow this pricing metric, but we ran into this problem where it's hard to find consistent pricing data. Some websites give it to you, but it's maybe old data, or it's data based on metrics that we don't really care about. Maybe with foil art included, which is essentially art that makes the cards more expensive but doesn't really correlate with power level of a card. So what I decided to do is I'll bypass this problem by writing my own program, as you can see here in Python, that basically uses a scraping function to go to tcgplayer.com, which I believe is the most reliable website to find this market value information, which if I remember correctly, is updated maybe hourly, maybe daily, but it's very, very current. But what this program does is it scrapes this TCG website for their market value information on each individual card. And it does so in a very convenient way. And I'll kind of go and start going through it right now here. So first things first, you have these 3 tabs. And I've already gone through the liberty of inputting all of the different cards in my deck into this page. So this is the page where you enter your card names in. So you built this deck on, say, right here, Tapped Out. So this is a very common website that people use to build decks. No, it's gotta load a little bit here. Come on. There we go. So a deck building website. You have your commander, a bunch of different cards, all put into these different categories. And you're like, okay, there's this information here, cardkingdom.com and tcgplayer.com. You see this range? That's a bit of a bit of a falsity, is what that we found. These TCG player numbers that Tapped Out uses varies, and it's not very consistent, and it doesn't actually use the market value. And I'll show you kind of how my program differs from this. So say you have your deck here, you're like, okay, I'm going to, not live edit. Go back. I'm going to get the list of cards here. All right. Man, it's kind of slow today. My list of cards here. I'll go and just copy and paste this big list right here. Ooh, big list. Copy and paste it into this program. I'll get rid of all the 1x's and all that stuff, but it wouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I'll copy and paste these cards here. I'll go to my program, and then I will essentially just run it. And I already have it running here, but all I need to do is press Y in this little section here where it says export official names to start up. What this does is it's going to fill this test.doc.txt file with the official, correctly spelled names of all these different cards. And that's pretty important, actually. I'll go ahead and just press enter here. That's pretty important, actually, because say you have this, where is it? So you have, let me see, the E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, Edgar Markov right here. So you have Edgar Markov, and you go to this website right here, Card Kingdom. So right here you can see that on TCG, Edgar Markov is right there. Edgar Markov has all these little star CMDR, star F, all that stuff. You copy and paste onto here with the star CMDR, click find cards, nothing comes up, 0 of 1. But if you take off that CMDR right here, that's the official card name, by the way. You'll get 1 of 1, the price of the card, etc. You're good. So what my program does is it uses this test doc to essentially fill out this entire page with the correctly spelled names that will work with the Card Kingdom website, so that you can actually order your cards. But yeah, so got my program running, everything's going well. What this script is going to do is it's going to go to TCG, script the information, bring out all this data together through the scraping function, and add it together to give you the total price of the deck. Now, to kind of make sure this doesn't bug out or anything, I added a couple special functions. So essentially, I have this thing where it will go to the TCG player website with the added, card name to it. So what my program does is it performs a Google search. It goes into that very first link that pops up, which is 99.9% of the time the correct link, and it will scrape the information based on a little path I programmed right here. And it will find that pricing information and post it. But say it doesn't work that 0.01% of the time, I will actually have a message here to alleviate this and tell you, hey, for this certain card, it couldn't find the correct, information. So it'll just come in as $0, and it'll notify you how many times this error has popped up. The program won't crash, but it will notify you of this error. And you can either fix it in the card links thing right here, or just manually find the prices yourself. Again, I plan on fixing this program up a little bit in the future, but as of right now, that's just kind of how it goes. So this is a cool add functionality. Additionally, I decided to do the non-foil versions of the card because for those of you, again, who know Magic the Gathering, you have a card with the normal art and the foil art. And foil is a special, more rare version of the art that doesn't really add any power value, but adds a aesthetic value, which is not what me and my friends care about as much. And that doesn't really impact the power of the deck itself. So I decided to just take the market value prices of the actual card itself without the foil. Very standard, because some foil cards might be more expensive or less expensive on a gradient, and it's kind of difficult to add that to the equation. And also, it doesn't really make much of a difference, and it skews the objective nature of this of this program anyway. But I have that added functionality. What else do I got? I think that's basically it. But yeah, I'll have it go ahead and start running. Actually, it is running. It takes a little bit of time, but it's opening up essentially 100 Google links, so it's going to take a while. And yeah, so while it's finishing up, I'll go ahead and explain maybe some future steps I have for this program. Again, I plan on maybe creating a website. Oh, there it goes. So I was going to start spinning out some of these values. I plan on making a website that, maybe I'll convert this, Python script to JavaScript and, go from there. I don't know. But I'll create this website to essentially do the same thing. And instead of actually scraping the data like I have here, what I'm going to do is actually use the API as given to me by tcgplayer.com. I've actually contacted them already, and they have given me an API code. I just haven't actually implemented it yet. I'll also add some more user-friendly, GUI stuff, like graphical user interface stuff, to basically make it easier to use for people who don't know how to actually use Python, which I know everybody doesn't know how to do. Yeah, so that's the plan for now, and I'll go ahead and just wait for this to finish up and prove to you that I'm not, losing my marbles and that this actually does work. Oh my god, I forgot how many cards I actually have in this deck. Okay, I'm getting to V. That means it's getting kind of close to the end, right? Yes. Okay. So here, 80 cards, $248. That is the objective price. Exactly. Because me and my friends had this plus minus basically $5 to $10 range that we work on. So if you go back to, let's see here, to tapped out, go ahead and just go back. You will see that their window, oh my goodness, it is very slow today. Their window is actually greater than our threshold that we individually want. So we need an exact number. So you see here, 239 to 267. That is plus or minus a $28-ish gap, which is a pretty big gap when it comes to these decks. So yeah, I have this exact pinpoint market value, and now I have this test stock that has been newly filled up with information. I can take this information and copy and paste it in here, and I will find cards, and it will essentially find the correct cards. So the thing is if you take, say, this list right here, I'm going to edit again. All right, it needs a little bit of time to actually find them. But if you go to this list right here that I'm about to show you, if this speeds up a little bit right here, if you copy and paste this into the Card Kingdom thing right here, it won't actually work. It'll come up with like maybe 60 out of 80 cards. But here you can see 80 out of 80. Perfect hit rate, because these are all the official names as gotten from tapped out. So yeah, you can see here $299.80. That is more expensive, obviously, than this little value right here, because, you know, TCG, or not TCG, Card Kingdom is a distributor, and this, you know, includes their little bit of markup so that they can gain a little bit of money from the actual shipping of the cards. The market value is more consistent for power gauging, and this price is just not a very useful metric at all. It's just how much they're stealing from you. You know, they're actually pretty good, and they have free shipping, so that's nice too. But again, this is the kind of set, you know, price that you buy the cards for. Then you know how the process goes from here. And I'll go back to my program, and yeah, so now you have this cool list of correctly named cards, and that's how my program works. Again, I plan on posting the link to this actual Python file down below underneath this video description, and hopefully some maybe additional descriptors or, you know, instructions for the things I might not have actually hit on here, because I know this is more of a description of the program and maybe not as much of a tutorial, but I'll try and maybe clarify some of that stuff below. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys find this useful. I know I do, and my friends do. They actually use it on a pretty frequent basis, and this is like how we gauge our meta. And again, you know, it's pretty useful. And man, this is an expensive deck. This is not a deck that I actually build. This is like a pie in the sky like thing that I really want to build, so that's why it's so expensive. Our budget is actually about $200. I think we're upgrading it to $225 soon. So this is a little bit higher than that, but this includes cards from an old deck list of mine that wasn't quite budgeted correctly. Again, another useful, you know, use of this program. And yeah, I guess I'll stop rambling and end this thing. So thank you guys for watching.